You in the brig for what you've done, but I won't do it.
Talking Dicks Comedy Podcast, the spin-off of the web series The Two Dicks, which is on YouTube, season 1 and 2. I'm Al Romas. That is my partner, Al Ducharme. And today we have a very special guest joining us. Alfred, if you would, let everyone know who is joining us today.
Well, we're very happy to have him. He's got a super busy schedule. We were lucky to get him. We had to pay him, but he's here.
What?
It's Russo on the road. Dave Russo, the inaugural Boston Comedy Festival winner. Get this. We're going to let him talk in a second, but get this. The inaugural Boston Comedy Festival. First one, meaning inaugural, right?
Yes.
He goes on first.
Yes.
He comes in first. That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. But he's
Were
here
there
with
any
us now.
Were there other contestants, or was it just the?
It was just him and me,
stage?
and he beat me out, that mother.
All right, I can
but
see that.
He's got a bunch of credits, and we're going to go over a bunch of them. He was on The Entertainer, that Wayne Newton reality competition show. He did very well on that, and it gave him a nice shot in the arm for his career. And he's got Russo on the road. And Dave, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
It is. It's my pleasure. First and foremost, you're one of the first guys I ever met in the industry, and you're still happy. And Al, and the other Al, Mr. Romas, one of the first guys I ever saw do stand up on television, right? And then I get to meet him in person. And,
wow!
Wow!
I saw you do the Tonight Show with Leno. And
Just say yes. Just say yes. Just say yes. Oh yeah, that was a while ago.
No, but I remember because I saw you in New York. But I remember thinking to myself, I think Leno's a little jealous. This guy's doing too well. Like you did really well. And I thought he was like, he didn't want to see that.
I don't even remember that. I remember working with you in Vegas. That's about it.
Your Alzheimer's is kicking in. Your Al Romas-Alzheimer's.
Yeah, the Vegas thing. That was a pleasure. I got to work with you, and of course Harry Basil. And as the opening act, I remember you read the back of my CD, goofing on me, going, "He's a regular on the strip." You guys would give me a hard time, so I felt like I was one of the boys. I finally felt like I fit in.
That was fun. You had done. I think you had just done that Wayne Newton show. Was that right in that
The Entertainer
time?
Yeah. What ended up happening was I was working with Mike Donovan and Harry Basil the night the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004, October 2000. I actually got to tell Mike Donovan the Red Sox won the World Series. Al, I know you're a Yankees guy. Sorry about that, Al Roman. Right. But Al, for us back then, Ducharme, Mike Donovan is the hugest historian Red Sox fan of all time.
Red Sox guy, and you got to tell him, hey, they won the World.
Dude, he jumped up like a little kid. And then he apologized to the audience. Hey, you know what I mean? But so around that time, I was auditioning for this TV show called The Entertainer. And I remember they said they were looking for headlining comedians. And I went to Harry Basil. I go, Harry, they're looking for like Vegas acts, like headlining Vegas. Like, you should be doing this audition. Right? I didn't even know Harry was in the business. I just figured he was a regular comedian. That's how he and I ended up becoming friends. And as a matter of fact, I'm working for Harry with Lenny Clark and Kenny Rogers and this week, August 16th through the 22nd. I'm super pumped for that, I'm working with Lenny and the Fight, but Kenny Rogers, the Laugh Factory.
That's a great show.
Week, so.
Great show, man. Yeah, jeez. What a lineup! A taste of the Northeast for sure.
Yeah,
we're coming in. A
Viper.
Yeah, so it's when you go through the Laugh Factory, you kind of feel like it adds legitimacy because comedy's been shut down for so long, and then when you get back up for a little bit, I mean, I feel bad you're stuck in a ship for over 75 days now, but at least you're in the entertainment industry.
His bank account is happy, but I don't know if he's happy.
And I'm doing 4 shows a week, and it's working. I'm working again, but I wouldn't mind going to Vegas when this is done and getting back there at the old Laugh Factory and at the Tropicana. That sounds that's a hell of a show though you're on, man. That's a great
lineup.
Yeah.
We should have the 3 of us booked together so we can shoot an episode of the Two Dicks web series, and we'll get Russo in there.
That sounds good. That sounds
Yeah.
good. What?
I always watch your web series. I always share the web series, The Two Dicks. I always share it out there, and I feel bad for the dog. If I remember correctly, at the end, the dog got it right.
He always survives. He always survives the gunshots.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's like Bugs Bunny. He gets shot, then he's back the next episode. He's fine. We forget about it. So
It's got me, Doc.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's dig into your history a little bit before we get on. You started out, you're an athlete. I played softball with you, and you demonstrated your abilities and your skills on the field very well. I felt like an old man when I was 30 watching you play. But you were a wrestler, I believe, in high school, and then you.
Yeah.
Is that right? Accurate?
I played the traditional sports. I played ice hockey since I was 5 years old. I still play now with the men's pickup leagues and with the Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an honorary Boston Bruins alumni player. That's right. My real love is hockey.
Okay.
But I played Pop Warner football and baseball, and growing up in my neighborhood, I just lucked out that legitimately I had like 4 guys that went Division I that played sports in my area. Wow. Jay Simmons, Matty Jones, Kilman. I had guys like Keith Kachuk that played hockey, the Sacco brothers from the Bruins. I mean, all around me was greatness. Bobby Carpenter, the first guy ever on high school. To me, he was on my godfather's team. So the sports thing was like a big thing, and it kind of like growing up in my neighborhood, it kept you out of trouble from the police because you were either like a burnout with the denim jacket, the long hair, and the smoke and the weed, or you played the sports in malls and that. And I was a sports guy. It was weird though. I was a sports guy. I was a dancer, and then a sports guy, and then entertainment.
Let me explain to Al, because Al is very homophobic. He's a break dancer, specifically a break dancer, and really good, like insane.
I've seen video.
Oh, you
I've
have?
seen him
Okay.
post. Yeah. And I figure that's why he wears the hat. I mean, after breakdancing for years, the hair is just fucking shot. So
I have the Italian. I have the hair. I don't really take the hat up all that often.
Wow.
But,
never.
I wear it. I'm like, because I'm Italian, I wear it like it's an accessory. It matches. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's your thing.
Yeah.
You wore that on The Entertainer, right?
Yeah.
Parts of it?
Yeah. Well, what ended up happening is I read a book a while ago called "Wake Me When It's Funny" by Gary Marshall, and he talked about branding yourself. He talked about how Marion Ross got cast to be Mrs. Cunningham. She just always wore the same red dress on every audition. So finally, all the casting agents go, "Hey, the lady with the red dress." So I figured with the Scally Cap thing, I liked it, and so that's how I branded myself. And everyone remembers. They might not remember my name, but it's that Scally Cap kid, the kid from the Scally Cap. You know.
Do you sell those? Like, do you have merch? Like, do you sell those hats after shows?
I do. As a matter of fact,
it seems like it would be a good fit.
Yeah, this is my line right here. It's called Classic Scally Company, and so this is the fall edition. This is called the Rockport, and actually Big Poppy. I got photos of Big Poppy wearing it. Wearing this hat, and I have one called the Anthem. Hats off to the Anthem. It's the Bruins colors.
Wait, was he wearing it when he got shot?
Well, no.
I was gonna ask that.
Come on, we gotta throw a little joke in here.
I'll tell you what the joke is. Big Poppy wore this hat right here. This is the black and gold hat. This is the called the Anthem. Hats off to the Anthem. And the day it launched, May 24th, the next day, there's a picture of Big Poppy wearing this hat at the Encore Casino at the Italian restaurant there. And so this kind of sold out, and this hat is selling out. So Al, Romas, thanks. I started my own Scally Cap line. It's called the Four Seasons edition. You get a summer, a fall, a winter, and a weekend hat. Right.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
That is very. Now,
do you sell them on a website? I mean, you don't lug those things around, do you, on the road?
Well, now you're absolutely right. It is the worst thing to lug merchandise.
Right.
But what I have been pitching, I have a website, DaveRusso.net. That's DaveRusso.net, not .com. That's the Plymouth, Ohio. And so you can get all this stuff on DaveRusso.net. And I've been pushing people there, and the Facebook and Instagram, all that stuff. Really, I'm still learning on that. I mean, I tried doing this, no lie, 10 years ago with someone, and they beat me to the punch and kind of squeezed me out of it. So I had to kind of start all over again. You know about the business.
Well,
yeah, man.
That's
No,
great that
go
you're
ahead.
taking on these little side hustles, part of your branding, and it's working. So that's
Yeah, well, it
awesome.
kind of fits scally cap and wine.
Yeah, what's that? I mean, I'm a wine guy, and then I see you popping up with is it a Malbec or?
It's a
I'm like,
Yes, it
Merlot.
is. Yes, it is.
I go,
As a
what's
matter
that?
of fact,
I think it's a
so
Malbec.
Oh,
I do it.
Yeah.
This is so this is the vineyard. It's called
Right.
Fulcino Vineyard. It's
Okay.
a taste of Italy, 1 hour north of Boston, next to Nashua. And my cousin Al, he actually 10 years ago, no, in 2007, he put out a group email and said, "Hey, I've always made wine. I'm retiring. I'm going to build a winery." And son of a bitch, man, I showed up. I worked there for like an hour and then slept for the rest of the day. It was hard work, but he remembered that. So years later, he went from one bottle of wine as Zinfandel. He now has a 1-year waiting list on that. To now he's got over 40 wines. And how I got the Malbec was I was doing the cruise ships. And he said, "What's the matter? You don't like my wine?" I go, "No, man. I'm on this kick with the Malbec thing." So I gave him a bottle of Apothic Red. He made. It turns out Malbec's a blue collar red table wine. Guys like ourselves would work out in the fields, come back, grab a goblet of wine. And so he put my picture on it. He made it. He launched it January of 2018. It sold out in 6 days. It's now one of the top sellers.
Mine was free.
I give credit for is my taste buds. And the fact because I gave a bottle what I liked, and he kind of made it just as good.
You inspired him though, because your passion for it inspired him. So that's part of the being an artist, if you will. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but what I'm saying is you spoke to him, and you gave me a bottle of that wine as a gift, and it was quite delicious. And
you know what? I've learned a little bit about wines now because he has a Zinfandel, which is a dry and a semi-dry. And then he has a Pinot Noir. He's got a Bianco, which is a Riesling. Well, this is my pitch to people. I go, it's semi-dry. The notes are apples, peaches, and pears. I drank a whole bottle with my girlfriend. We did not get into a fight. That's a pretty good Riesling. I just stuff like that.
Is it available?
That was my pandemic relief fund during the whole. He did wine tastings. You had to stay 6 feet away. He's in Live Free or Die, New Hampshire. He's got a vineyard. We all stayed 6 feet away. And you know what? We found out a lot of alcoholics, people that like wine rather, stayed 6 feet away because we were walking, pouring wine. I'm like a certified sommelier. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. Is that available? I have great wine stores in Tampa and things like that. Is that available? Is it on the shelves of a really
so right now,
store
in New Hampshire? You can get his wine at all the New Hampshire state liquor stores, the heavy McKinnon's. You can get it at Buc-ee's. I mean, it's up and down.
Well, I'm not going to go to New Hampshire
He has
for wine,
no
but
this guy's ahead of the curve. You can also buy it online through vinoshipper.com, but it's expensive. It's expensive, but people do buy it all around the country.
Well, we're going to take a little break. We're going to go to commercial break. Oh, wait a minute. We just had one. Okay, continue.
Awesome. All right. Can I tell a story? Can I tell you?
You can tell. That's why you're here. But I think these things are great, man. You're an entrepreneur. You got it all working.
I like it.
You're an avid sports fan. You got a lot of passion, and you're funny on stage. But yes, tell us a story.
Well, thank you. Funny on stage. I hope I'm funny during this interview as well. I mean,
we have a laugh track.
We'll edit it.
We'll
make it look good. Don't worry.
Well, the business. This is the business which I find ironic. You had mentioned I won the inaugural Boston Comedy Festival, which really was a huge thing in my career. But it ended up, the irony was that, you're right, we all picked out of a hat legitimately. To Jim McHugh's credit, he did it very legit. We all picked out of a hat in front of everybody. And I picked first in the quarterfinals, and I won that round. I picked first in the semis, and then I ended up picking first in the finals.
And you came in first, so it was consistent.
But no, I know what it sounds like. No, the thing is, it sounds like the irony, like, ooh. But I wanted to share with you now. Like I said, Jim McHugh did it legit. We all picked in front of everybody. So reason why I wanted to say this, I had always thought I was going to be doing premium blend. That's what I thought when you win the festival. And so Naomi Frisch came back and go, no, you don't win the festival. You're now one of the finalists in the Laugh Riots. Okay. So now we had to do a 6 o'clock show. So now I had to compete against Eugene Merman and some other guys from the Comedy Studio that don't usually do competition. And the irony was this. She said, we picked out of a hat in the hotel room and you drew first. So I went up first in the Laugh Riots at 6 o'clock at the Comedy Connection with 9 other people's families going, we're not here to see you. And you know what? I still was funnier than some of those fuckers. So that's why that's why the business is horrible, because I said, listen, I'm not that great of a mathematician, even though I graduated first in my class, homeschooled, as a crazy joke for you. But I said, how do you really think I ended up picking first? How did Eugene Merman end up going third? And then John Fish went fifth. It's like they had a lineup.
Oh,
right.
I've been involved in those many times. I was actually I had the sweet spot going on 4th or 5th with 20 guys. And then suddenly someone leans over. I have 3 clients. Blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden I move. And then I move. Right. And I'm like, and all of a sudden the core of the audience leaves. And then 2 or 3 guys go on. It's just crazy. And if you don't have powerhouse people or managers, agent on your side.
But that changed. You have to understand something. I went to college in Pennsylvania. I went to school in the tri-state area. I have friends from New York, Long Island, Jersey, Philly, the whole 9 yards. When that woman did that to me, I was smart enough to know, okay, they don't like me. They don't want me on Comedy Central. So instead of going to New York and pursuing, I ended up doing the 25th anniversary San Francisco International Comedy Festival. Okay, so I've only been doing comedy 2.5 years. I ended up doing the San Fran thing for a month. Dude, I bought a plane ticket to Reno. Didn't even know what the hell was going on in my world. Next thing you know, I'm out in California with a month with Rob Brackenridge, who was Barbara North's manager. And that's how I ended up getting them involved.
How did you get in all that, though? Did you just send a tape for San Francisco? Or how did you get
it was,
into that?
Back
VHS, right?
I kind of don't even remember. I think it was like, I might have actually been savvy enough to have an email. Like I might have emailed them, hey, how do I do this? But yeah, I got in there, and I ended up coming in. I used to say second runner-up, but in reality, it was third place. I always thought it sounded better on my resume. Second.
Who won that year? Who was the winner of that year?
So the winner was Danny Bevins, and an African American guy, Darryl Lennox was second.
Darryl Lennox, yeah.
And I was third. Okay. And and who's the kid who's the kid friends with D'Angelo? He came in 5th. He's out in Vegas, lives in Vegas now. He just hosted a show in Vegas.
Not Vinny Favorito.
No.
He's from Western Massachusetts. Why can't I think of his name? I saw him at the Hockey and Restaurants in Vegas. He lives in Vegas now. I can picture his face. He came in 5th. But I guess the reason why I wanted to talk about San Francisco thing is that used to be a big deal. And I look at some of the people that did in those, a lot of people, like I think, like Ralphie May the year before me came in 4th place. Rest his soul.
A lot of those competitions, you look at them, whether it's Star Search or San Francisco or whatever, and the better comics came in 3rd, 4th, 5th. The winners, most of the time, you never heard of them again. Where it's the guys in the 5th, 6th, those guys are all stars now.
Oh, it's so true. Yeah. Louis C.K. came in 5th place in his thing. One of the Dana Gould, I think, came in 4th. I mean, all these guys, they've made it.
It's like the NFL. Same thing. A lot of those guys, they're busts. Those top
first
picks.
Draft. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Brady.
He's still driven by that. Let it go. It's okay.
With the comedy, with that kind of after, like, once I found out about that, and when I came back from San Francisco and I realized what comedy on the road was like, it was that's you got to really know how to do comedy on the road, because living out of a suitcase and on the road and stuff.
Well, but you have a show. You have a show on internet on the road with Russo. But are you on the road really, or is that on the road with Russo within Boston, basically?
New England, right?
In New England. That show's not. You're not in Oklahoma or Texas.
No,
are you?
That's an around the world show. Russo around the world.
This is on the road. On the road locally. Yeah.
It ended up starting off because I kind of when I came back from Vegas after 2007, I pitched to Dirty Water TV and New England Sports Network, like the Yes Network in New York. So they were looking. I pretty much pitched myself as bringing the comedy on their Dirty Water TV late night, and losing my train of thought for a second.
Russo on the road.
Russo on the road.
No, the
baby.
Russo on the road kind of came out of the Dirty Water TV because I started doing interviews with people I'd never met before, like Trucks, the musician Trucks. He's like super
Eric
famous.
Trucks.
Like, I don't know the musicians, but I was interviewing Hot Stove Cool Music, and I was interviewing all these well-known people. So, and because I didn't really know much of them, I didn't know anything about them. Somehow the interviews came off pretty good because I was like, "Yeah,
you were in the moment."
I didn't know anything about them.
You brought personality, and you were in the moment. You actually had me on Dirty Water.
Yes,
part of the comedy festival down there in.
That was early on. You were on the pilot season. You and Bernie were on the pilot season.
Probably. I don't know. But, dude, yeah, you were like, you were casual, but you were engaging. So they said this guy, because a talking head they want that, especially in a smaller market. They want, there's not a lot to choose from. So when someone pops, they got to go with you. So it
ended up working well for me. But then I started realizing that I was doing things a lot of my friends and family weren't doing. Like somehow I was skating with the Boston Bruins alumni. I'm online with Terry O'Reilly and Rick Middleton, and we're passing the puck together. And Ray Bork's trying to, I know it's not big for Al because he's a Bruin, a New York guy, but it's like I started hanging out with all these local,
heroes.
Athletes,
I get it. Sure.
And all these local
Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr. I mean, Bobby Orr saw me score a goal, and which I learned the technique from Terry O'Reilly as a kid. It was like, I was like, oh my God, it was like all the stars lined up. So I started saying, I got to stop putting this out there. And you know what? I really didn't know what to do with it either. I probably have like 500 views on my Bobby Orr interview that I did 8 years ago on my YouTube page,
Dude, I saw you with Bruce Springsteen.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Oh, you saw that one too?
I saw that. That was very
Tony Orlando and Bruce Springsteen
impressive
together.
and weird altogether. Like, what was going on there?
So you know how that happened. So this is how I tell that story.
No, we don't.
So I put Texas Stupid on that one. We're very giving people, obviously, in the industry. We do a lot of comedy fundraising, charity events. So I've done a lot of stuff with the troops. I'm the only one in my family that didn't go into the military. I got a Division I wrestling scholarship. I like to say that, preface that, because I did PTs, 2 or 3 times a day. I just didn't have weapons in my hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, so that was one thing I chose to try to give back to, because if I could do it over again, I still wish I did at least 2 years. But anyways, so a guy asked me, he goes, hey, a fan of mine was like, hey, what would you like? I want to do Mohegan Suns. These are like elite troops that they didn't really show their faces. What would you like? And I said, I want 4 hotel rooms. He goes, you don't have any money? I go, nah, just give me 4 hotel rooms. So I was green. And so it turned out I got me, Pete Costello, Mike McCarthy. Those are my two best.
He knows Mike well. Al knows Mike well.
Yeah, he's a champ. And then and then I got Dave DiLorenzo because I knew his brother was in the military.
The late Dave.
Passed away.
Yeah.
So when we got there, I pulled up. I guess Bruce Springsteen's son Sam was getting an award, and so Bruce Springsteen pulled up. And because it was like under the, we weren't supposed to do videos or anything like that. Somehow, because I'm from the city of Malden and a middle child, and I just took out my camera and just backed up towards them. And it was after the show, and I did real well on the show. I hosted the show. I remember the joke I did about Bruce Springsteen, and it was just like I don't even know. It was just somebody asked if I was going to do a joke about Bruce Springsteen, and I said no, and they said why not? I said, well, the guy from Jersey, I'm pretty sure he's got a weapon. It was
boom.
Right?
Was
so
this a
whole
kind of? This is a regular stand-up show. You McCarthy doing
so
10, 15, 20, whatever.
Behind us. There's a dais behind us. So if I'm on stage, you got Bruce Springsteen here, Sam Springsteen. You got the guy, Kevin Brown, who's the head Native American with the thing on behind me. I'm trying to do a joke about that one. He's got the hairpiece behind you, sitting behind it. And you had 5-star generals, and you had Ty.
Tony Orlando.
Well, because
why was he there?
And Tony Orlando's huge. Obviously, Ty Yellow Ribbon Round.
Sure.
But I got videotape. Yes. He's not supposed to sing that, I guess. I got videotape of him singing it.
He got sued for singing his own song.
I know. It's brutal.
and you would never be able to make fun of Native Americans in a joking way these days without being canceled.
Right.
Oh my God.
Can't make a joke about anything anymore.
No.
Bruce Springsteen. And you know what? He generally liked me. And the show went real well. and that I caught that video on tape at that time. And,
because you made a connection with him. You look like your old buddies hanging out in a green room and said, "Hey, let's do the interview." It was just like this weird, random.
It was a weird.
You posted it. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
It's great.
It is.
If you haven't seen it, look it up. What's it called, Dave? The clip. So people,
you know, it's just if you go on DaveRusso.net and you click on my Facebook fan page, it's a top video.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a bizarre thing. I mean, you would never think you're going to see Springsteen right there. And then with Tony Orlando, what the fuck is that combination? It's
how about
that? It all makes sense now.
And I go, "Do you guys have a good show?" And Bruce is like, "Yeah." Pointing at me,
yeah,
it's so random. I would never be like, I would see this. I have no balls when it comes to this stuff. Like, get your camera and just walk up. Who cares? They tell you to turn it off. That's all. I would be like, no, don't fucking do it. Just put it away. You're lucky I wasn't standing next to you. I would have stopped you.
I don't know what it was. I know at the end of the show, because McCarthy goes, "Russo, you did it." Because at the end of the show, instead of me walking off the stage, I went to the right with Tony Orlando and I shook everyone's hand to go down the line. So I eventually had to get to Bruce Springsteen. Like I was like, he could not. And I was next thing at the end, I'm behind him taking pictures, doing selfies, he's doing this shit. Yeah, it was pretty good. I had that perfect alcohol buzz. You know what I mean? Like I was nervous.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was
Take the edge off. He's like, fuck it.
And then, I did the drum, and I had the buzz, woo, and then everyone liked me. And then, when they like it, then you get away with it.
But you were hosting the event?
Exactly.
Yeah, I hosted it.
See, that gives you have like FBI credentials if you're doing that, because then no one's going to touch you. It's like because you're running it. You're the master of ceremonies. You're the comedian. No one's going to fuck with that. This guy's running the show,
Right. Yep.
Yeah, it ended up working out pretty good because Al, I've worked with you a bunch of times. I'm decent at going at the beginning, like starting people up, like, hey, like a little cheerleader, like I'm good at that stuff. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to this stuff. Going on later like you guys do after 97 comics. Yeah, I'm not good at that. I get too frustrated. I'm like, why are you not paying attention to me? I'm a middle child. And I'm just, I hate that going last shit.
But on the road,
proved yourself.
in local clubs and but when you work though, Dave, you're a headliner, right? You're not going first anymore.
No. You know what? No, I do headline a lot. I actually enjoy headlining. But a lot of times through the pandemic, we were just really doing shows at my family's winery in New Hampshire. So I pretty much hosted all of them, Comedy Uncorked. And just but
let me jump in on this.
Right,
hosting shows in New England is different than just about anywhere else in the country, and we know that from the Lenny Clark and the Don Gavins and the Steve Sweeneys, and the late our guy there. Oh boy, I'll get back to it. But
Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox. I mean, if you hosted your own show, you were a big gun hosting. So it's a different thing out there in the Boston area.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I'm a real big fan of how they did it in the past. When they would have people, it would be the Don Gavin show, and Don Gavin would go up and do 15, 20 minutes. Or the Kevin Knox show on Wednesdays at the Comedy Connection. He would go 10 or 15 minutes up front. Robbie Prince, another great host. You know what I mean? Like these guys would host the shows, and it was like their show. And I'll tell you why also I like to host, because I think when the Dick Dohertys and those other guys came in, they wanted to put the young kid up first, but I'm a firm believer in first impressions very important. And that's why, Gephardt from the Tropicana, I think the first show he ever produced was Rosie, Drew Carey, and Ray Romano. I think that was the first lineup, and Rosie's the host. That's how to put a show together. And so I don't like when they do the weakest guy first, because first impressions, now people are like, I think it's, you work harder if the first guy sucks. If the first guy is good, you don't work as hard.
It always goes better when you have a seasoned host.
Yeah.
And we've said it here. We've said it here many times. It doesn't really make sense, the actual comedy club setup, to put the new guy first and he bombs. Then the second guy's better. And then you're going to get the headliner
out of a hole.
Right. So it doesn't really make any sense, but somehow it just survives that way. It's always, they're not going to change it. But New England definitely, or Boston had the right idea. Start with the headliner. That's the way to go.
Yeah, but when now though, we know so many guys now, both Al's, that when we put a show together, any one of us could host it, or
Mhm.
featured or headliner.
Right.
Because like if I'm the featured guy working with someone, I'm not gonna try to show fun. I'm not gonna try to burn the last guy. I'll get my little jokes in. I'll keep my time. I won't break the F meter. Like we're all pro. We kind of know how to do that now. We're at the beginning of our career. I know if a guy from New York came and I would try to bury him like a fucking, of course he was dumb. I would keep my time. I'd keep my time. I would never be. I wouldn't cheat. I'd keep my time, but I always want to, like when I met Florentine. I love Florentine, but when he came in, he probably thought I was like, "Hey, how you doing? Where you from?" You know what I mean? We're all punks, I guess, back in the day.
Oh yeah. That was one of the. I've said many times on this show, even that was my first time at Nick's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was Gavin, Knox, and somebody else I forget, but I went up and just fucking died, the death, man. I fucking ate it like you can't
welcome
even,
to Boston.
Oh, it was brutal.
Oh, they used to love when they would get TV credit, guys with TV credits.
So bad.
Oh, yeah.
Bury them, bury them. And it
buried the shit out of me.
But if you were local, you had to go back for more punishment, so it made you a stronger comic. Right. So it was actually a good thing. But the bar was here, and you had to bring your A game.
Well, wait a minute. Are you a Long Island guy or Long Island, Al Romas?
Long Island.
I had good luck. I had really good luck with the Long Island clubs. I worked Governors. I worked all those places. I had buddies of mine from Freeport and Nassau County for wrestling in Hampton. So I did a lot of work up there at one point. And then in 2003, I did a bunch of college and stuff, and then kind of came back. That's when I got the break in Vegas, so I kind of left New York. As Al Duchamp says, I had a cup of coffee in New York. Or a cup of tea.
Were you in the city at all? Did you go in? Were you working any city clubs at all?
So this is my somewhat claim to fame. I come to New York and I sneak on the comic strip. I say it's DJ Russo because my friend had a set, and so I go on, and then I get a call for the next day. It's not my first day in New York. The next day, Rory Rosegarden. Yeah, not the big one. The brother calls me.
Peter Rosegarden. Yeah.
So is Peter. So Rory was the big one.
Yeah.
So is Peter. Then Peter called me. Not the head honcho.
That was Ray Romano's. Yeah.
How would you like to do New Joke City with Robert Klein? So in my head, I'm thinking I snuck on at a club in New York City. My first day in town. The next day I get a call to do a TV show, right? To do New Joke City. I go. I am like
the way it works.
Yeah. I'm like the champion. I go, this shit's easy. so I kicked ass with that show. So I was doing well. So it's comic strip. And then I do another short comic strip. And so he never passed me. Lucian Hold never passed me.
No.
You were the victim. You were a victim of a white male.
Yeah, you're
a victim of a white. He had like
sex,
80,000 white males, and then a few African Americans and a few women. And
but so did every other club. But somehow he
decided that he was going to do that.
Yeah,
well, so
I have plenty of white men.
We know you do. But
I got to share that with you because he did actually say that to me. He said,
of course,
he said, I'm managing Mike Birbiglia, and who I love. And he said, he just did the NACA. He just did 12 colleges. I said, I just did that. He goes, how many did you book? I go, 46. and he's still not going to pass me. And so, but he told me, the thing was, he saw me, the twice he saw me was in front of 7 people or 8 people. But the time I did the show in a cast for New Joke City, he was married to that girl. He was on his honeymoon. That's what it was. The Hollinger girl.
Vanessa Hollingshead.
Vanessa.
Yeah. So the time, like, it was like I blame her for all my failures because I go he would have been there when I kicked ass and got cast by Rose guy. He would have like, shit, I got to pass the kid now. He just did a thing. Instead, he sees me in front of 6 people, and he also says to me, "That joke you do, the broad joke, I've heard it done twice." I go, that's my joke. It's one of the Boston Globe. He goes, oh, I know, but the Farrelly brothers did it on the Tonight Show. So immediately I go, Jackie Flynn, that son of a bitch. Right? That's all right. I can tease him because we've already talked about it. Anyways.
Well, Jackie's doing punch up, so he's twice removed. So it does. You had to hear it from Lucian to find out that he was doing that. But yeah.
No, but it's perfect. The thing was, Jackie, to his credit, and to the Farrelly brothers, they put me in the Tom Brady commercial, Roger that. I was also in the Cam Neely a very fairly Thanksgiving where about 80 Boston people auditioned for it. And I was one of the guys, me, Gavin, Lenny, Patty, come on, we love her.
Ross.
Yep, Patty Ross, champion, and a couple other logos. So back then I remember being like, one door closed with Lucian. But I actually said to Lucian, I go, so wait, let me get this straight, Lucian. So you said, because I said, I go, Lucian, that's my joke. He goes, oh no, it's your joke, but you can't do it in my club anymore because they did it on TV. And so my response was,
he confirmed it was your joke, and this is the business. And
so then I said to him, that's what I said to him. But I was like,
Wow.
First I was like, oh my God. I remember driving home being so angry. But I remember saying to him, I go, so let me get this straight. So like the biggest, most popular writers, movie makers right now, thought my joke was good enough doing a Tonight Show, and you're not going to pass me at your club?
That's
and I
right,
remember,
Mr.
and that's
Russo.
what he said to me no, that's what he said to me. But he did say to me that about Mike Birbiglia. And to Mike Birbiglia's credit, he's tried to help me in the business. I don't know if you guys ever worked with Mike, but
oh yeah, I know Mike well.
Yeah, because when I did win the festival the following year, he ended up pulling first in the finals at 6 p.m. on Tuesday at the Comedy Connection Faneuil Hall. So I tried to pump up the crowd for him, and he never forgot that. He actually had me open for him a couple of times at the Stress Factory when he started getting bigger. So that's kind of cool. He's a Worcester guy, New England guy.
New England boy. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to be going to Vegas with the big guns. It's like it's an arsenal of Boston comedy. That's fantastic. And when are you going back up to the Vineyard? And when am I going to be up there? You've invited me a few times.
We've tried to get. You know what? You got
to get the Two Dicks up there. We shoot a whole episode of the Two Dicks up at the Vineyard.
In the Vineyard. I like
drinking in the Vineyard. Yeah. You're on the episode, and we do a show. We do a show.
Let's do it. I like it.
I'll drink to that. I'll get the wine, but I'll drink to that.
Yeah, man.
Still empty. No, you know what? Well, you can. That would be perfect. Yeah. Because it's right next to Nashua. It's close. But you guys have to let me know when you're off a ship and when you're on the East Coast.
Al will be off the ship in June of 2022.
October 21st, sir.
They're going to extend you. 21st. They're going to ask you to stay an extra month. You know it's going to happen.
They can ask whatever they want. It's not happening. I'm leaving. I'm leaving October. It's over.
That's over. Like I was stuck on that reality show on The Entertainer. It was 10 episodes, but we were only stuck in the. This is we were stuck in a suite in Elvis's $25,000 a night suite.
That was in the Hilton, wasn't it?
I remember going, "This is prisoner of war. I'm a prisoner of war. I can't use my cell phone. I can't even rub one out. This is the worst thing ever." 3 weeks. That was brutal.
So were you the only
that was the penthouse, though, right?
How did that show, for anyone who never saw it, including me, how did that show work? I mean, you're the is there one comic, one dancer, one magician?
It's similar to America's Got Talent, but without the good talent.
Right. Okay.
Because it was like.
And why is Wayne Newton involved? What does he do? Is he the host?
He's producing it.
So basically, in 2004, they came up with this idea about a TV show called The Entertainer. What it takes to be a headliner in Las Vegas, whether it's a singer, a comedian, a live dancer, a musician, or what have you. So they picked They picked a prop comic. They picked a straight comic from New York. They picked me, a third comic. They picked a couple actresses that could sing, musicians, stuff like that. So it was early on in the reality show, but we competed. We did tasks. The thing that they heard us with was, instead of making us look better than we actually were, they would throw a friggin' curveball at you at the end. Like they'd have someone heckle you while you're doing it in front of you know what I mean? Or they'd say, "Don't laugh at all when you're doing shit." You're like, you can't make someone laugh if you're told, you know what I mean? So. But the thing was, I was a city kid. I did pretty well. I picked it up pretty quickly that they were kind of on the go too in a reality show. And if you're thinking about it, they're all living there themselves. They're probably getting messed up all night in Vegas.
Right.
The next day. So
but
I knew I was catching the break. And at the time, I remember going, just come in the top 5 to the time reality shows. You came in the top 5, usually came up with something. I was actually runner up on that one, and I didn't get anything.
Well, the TV time you had on that was amazing because it runs the whole contest, and then they repeat it. Yeah, it's on E Network, and at the time, E Network was gigantic.
Yeah, it was great. Unfortunately, Al on the ship, it was 6 months later, Twitter came out and Facebook came out, and
Right.
so it wasn't like during the heat of it. Hey, if you want Dave Russo to win, hashtag at Boston
Right.
Comedian or whatever the hell it was. I mean, I missed that boat, so I never got the 100,000 followers or the, because I did the reality, and a lot of those guys. I mean, the only how I cashed in is that the winner, Delisco, had me open for him, so I opened for him for 6 months, and I kind of got street cred in Vegas, I guess.
And who was the winner? Who was
a guy by the name of Delisco, African American kid from New York, hell of a singer, dancer, couldn't talk till he was like 5 years old, came up pretty hard. But on the show, if you watch the show, and he'll tell you this, he was in maybe 4% out of 100%. It wasn't.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just
and how
the
did
last
they,
episode.
Yeah.
What's that? The last.
No, I was going to say. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. The last episode.
There's a slight delay. That's why. But go ahead.
No, the last episode we were in front of at the Hilton where Barry Manilow sang, and he was singing with a 52-piece orchestra, and I was just doing comedy. So he destroyed and he sang Stevie Wonder, like the greatest song of all time, with a 52-piece orchestra. He got a standing ovation on the final episode, so everyone picked him. That he was like, I won 9 episodes, I lost 1 because I lost. I would have said, what the fuck, man? When we just do that 1 episode and just call it a day. Got me sitting in the house.
That's what I was going to ask. Who voted? It was live audience voting?
It was Wayne Newton and his two people, right?
It was Wayne Newton and it was essentially, the producer of the show who they wanted to win. And and at the time you really want to know how I lost. So I hadn't been on stage in 3.5 weeks. And the girl in Las Vegas, can't remember her name. Oh, I love it too. She couldn't make
Sarah.
it. So they called Vinny Favorito. So on the last episode, in front of a live studio audience, Vinny did about an hour with the crowd work and everything. An Italian comic from Boston. It's the last episode, and then they have me go up, and an Italian comic from Boston, and so I did well. But I remember the guy. He did one of your jokes. I'm like, what joke did he do? Am I that technology thing? I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? Talk about not knowing. So that was a burn. That was a total burn. And but at the time, I remember not being too bitchy about it because I was runner-up, and back then reality show guys were getting stuff, but. Wayne Newton's wife called Montreal to get me in Montreal New Face, and they said not interested. I mean, Jackie Gleason was picked. Jackie Gleason picked Wayne Newton. He was his opening act. That's the only bum thing that I think. Like Jackie Gleason gave Wayne Newton
when he was 16 years old or something like that.
Yeah. Gave his break. So I always just thought, and I opened for Wayne, and I'll tell you something, man. I did really well. The one time I opened for him, and this girl said, if you did that well in the last episode, you would have won the money. I'm like, hey, I know that. I don't think I know that every time I do a good show. I could have won $1 million with that fucking set.
I think show business is a constant contest, and stand-up comedy certainly is just normally. And I've done a bunch of these contests, and I just don't do well. I get my head, and I don't like the maneuvering of, like I said, they changed the order. I hate it. All gets in my head. You're supposed to ignore it, put the blinders on, just go do your thing. I get caught up in all that stuff. I did a contest. It was like $5,000, $2,500 to the first place, and Nick DiPaolo goes on before me, and my closing bit was Scarface. Nick DiPaolo goes on and closes with Scarface. Never saw him do Scarface before, but he knew that I was going to get first place, so he came in second. I placed third. It's evil, just an evil thing. But he knew enough to go up there and fuck me, and he fucked me. So.
Okay, you know what? Now I have a story. What is his name? He's in Vegas right now. He's Paul D'Angelo's friend. He's from Western Massachusetts.
You keep bringing this guy up. I don't know.
He used to date Courtney Cronin.
Rick D'Elia.
So when I did San Francisco, Rick D'Elia came in 5th place. When I came,
you called him a short little guy? How tall are you?
I'm 5'6" in heels. What do you mean? He's my height. But you know what he did? You know what he did one time? He did the same thing. I used to talk about my mother going through a change of life, quit smoking cigarettes for the first time in 25 years. Doctor put her on non-fat, non-cholesterol, non-food diet, right? We're in the contest, one of the things, he goes, yes, my mother's going through a change of life. I just mentioned it and then just moved on. Like, what was that all about? And we laugh about it now.
Calculating.
I ran into
Calculating.
The Bruins, we laugh about it now.
Yeah, I just never thought like that. You know, that now that I am,
No, me neither.
I would do that to Al Romas now. But back then, I was like, everybody's
sure.
friends. We're all friends. It's going to be
No.
great.
Yeah.
And
There are no friends.
No
friends. No friends.
It
There
is.
are no
You know what I was
friends.
There's no friends in comedy.
No.
All right, we're going to wrap it up here. But tell me, I know you're going to Vegas. We already covered that. But tell everybody where we can find you. Unless, Al, do you have another question for him that we didn't cover?
No,
Some of your
that was
bullet
it.
points.
Everything. I want to drink some wine. I want to shoot an episode. I want to get that going, and I really want to try the wine. So I'm going to look it up, and how if it's not too crazy, I'm going to order a bottle and have it waiting for me when I get home because I love wine, and why not? If I can drink a wine
real quick,
of somebody I actually know.
Dry or dry wine, like red wine, white wine,
dry. I like dry, big Cabernet, like a big punch in the nose Cabernet.
Okay, so we got a Montepulciano that we sells out all the time.
I like that one.
A dry Cabernet. We got dry Zinfandel. We have a dry Pinot Noir called Villa Fulcino. Yeah, we got you covered, man. We got you covered.
And what is the say the website again? So throw it out there.
The website for the wine is fulcinovineyard.com. But you can get all that stuff through daverusso.net. That's the easiest one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all linked up.
Get yourself a hat, a bottle of wine. I'm sure you got a. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Russo on the road. Check him out. DaveRusso.net. Is it?
It is.
Yeah, it is. And he's quite the comedian, high-powered comic out of Boston, heading to Vegas. Russo on the road. Thanks, buddy.
My pleasure, guys. Big Al's. 2 dicks. We love you.
Thanks,
Big
Dave.
Al's.
Appreciate
it. Came up. Big Al's.
My pleasure.
The Talking Dicks became friends at a very young age, and the rest is history.
I'm losing my mind.
Patreon.com/The2Dicks, which is named after our web series. This is the Talking Dicks Comedy Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Done.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
We'll fix it in post, you son of a bitch.
Okay, sure.
All right. Subscribe. Mary.
Go to patreon.com/the2dicks.
If you shoot me, you won't see a cent of that money. Why?
I think it ends on that. That's beautiful.